Good afternoon. Injury update is really the same as yesterday. Everybody that practiced yesterday practiced today. Andre still has not practiced. And it was a good day. We're indoors. But I thought the players looked fast. They moved around well. I thought mentally they were sharp. Just a couple more hours and we'll be there. Questions?
Can Taj go a whole game?
I think he
Health
can.
issues and everything?
I think he can. You never know till you get into it. I remember earlier in the year I was concerned that the team wouldn't be able to come back and go through a game, and then he actually got rolled up one play, had to come out for I think 2 plays, but then went back in. So I was very pleased. So you never can predict how they're going to react because it's really just one hit the wrong way away from getting kind of twisted up a little bit. But the way he looks right now in practice, I feel comfortable saying I expect him to go the whole way.
Kyle, the word out of Louisville is that Bridgewater will play, but there might be a package for the backup. Do you have to prepare for both now?
I don't think so. From what I've seen of their backup quarterback, it appears that they run very similar stuff. Because when Teddy was 100%, they would run him quite a bit. So I would imagine it would be something very similar. We'll have to be ready to adjust. I think over the course of the year, we've seen different types of offenses. So I know Coach Smith will be ready with whatever calls and adjustments he would need if they do something that they haven't shown on film. But everything on film indicates the offense doesn't change significantly, when one quarterback goes in over the other.
So with all the talk of Bridgewater and he can't hand off to his left, he can't do this, can't do that, do you pay attention to any of that?
Absolutely none of it. No, absolutely none of it. I got a feeling that when Teddy Bridgewater gets here, he'll be excited to play a football game, and he'll be able to do everything he needs to do to try to help them, be what they want to be at the end of the game.
So it doesn't change your preparation if they're saying you can't line up under center or can't hand up, or is having trouble handing off?
It really doesn't, because I think they would put from what I've seen of Coach Strong's comments, if they wanted to go under center, they'd put the other quarterback in, and so you have to be ready to defend both. Not that the run schemes change significantly if they're under center or in the gun. The things that happen in the gun are the read option package, but that's something we're preparing for anyway, so I don't think it really changes our preparation.
Coach, the short work week, how does that affect your preparation?
Well, we have an itinerary for it, like anything else, and we have a way of preparing. It's a little bit different than the regular week. We don't hit as much because the game is coming a little bit quicker, and because it's the last game of the year, the hitting has already been reduced a little bit just to make sure that you're as healthy as you can be going into the game. But both teams have the same time constraints getting ready for the game, and I think the conference does a good job of making sure that whoever the home team is the week prior they played on the road, whoever the road team is the week prior they played at home. So I think all that balances out, and it's pretty much it's the same as playing on a wet field. Both teams are playing on it. When play a short week, both teams are playing on the short week. So I don't think there's any significant advantage either way.
If your quarterback had a fractured left wrist, what would you be most concerned about him doing or not being able to do?
You'd be concerned about him getting hit. That's what you'd be worried about. You'd be worried about if he gets hit, there's going to be a significant amount of pain. If it's a bone injury, you can't numb bone. That's the reality of it. So, and at some point, the pain is such that you can't operate anymore. So, those would be my concerns. But I don't know the severity of what the injury is out there.
Speaking of your quarterback, the numbers would imply that Gary struggled a little bit since camp. Where's his confidence? And in your mind, is that people just getting film on him, or is that just more the offense not being in sync, and he's kind of exhibiting the fact that the offense hasn't been in sync?
I think it's more a function statistically of one game kind of skewing the numbers, and certainly that was not a game that we were pleased with or Gary was pleased with. But what I've seen from Gary week in and week out is a confident player who's done a good job managing the game as we've given it to him, and at the same time has been able to learn from his mistakes. So I've seen that improvement week to week. Like anything else and any other player, sometimes it shows up on game day more than others. When you're dealing with a player who's played less than really a year and a half of football, when you take the game time into consideration. So I think his learning curve is moving in the right direction. He doesn't have any confidence problems. That's just not Gary. You spend 5 minutes with him, and he'll be confident when he comes out on the field Thursday. And Gary's a proven winner. I think his record speaks to that.
I know you're bunkered up, but can you feel it's a big game? Just in ticket requests or sideline passes or any of the ways that you generally can tell?
I try to avoid that stuff as much as possible. But obviously, it's going to happen, and sometimes I have to be involved with it. But these are the games that you want to be a part of. These are when you get to your last game of the year and you have an opportunity to play for a BCS bid. that's exactly what you want when you start the season. You want an opportunity late in the season to play these type of meaningful games against good competition. I think that's what the coaches want. I know that's what the most competitive high-level players, that's what they really crave at the end of the year. So I think you'll see two very hungry teams when we come out Thursday.
Can you
Kyle
tell
Scott-
more from practice? Are they different in terms of energy level or excitement building up to it, or is it the same as anything else?
I don't see much difference in practice. I think we've practiced well. I think one of the things about this team that I've been most pleased with over the course of the season is I think they really go out there every day and they work, and they practice well, and they move around with urgency. So I haven't seen a significant difference there, no. I see a significant difference more with how many people make comments to me from outside the program. But for us inside the program, we're certainly excited to play, but it's the meaningful part of the game is different, but I don't know that our excitement to play it is any different.
Kyle Scott's making his 50th straight start. How impressive is that for a defensive tackle?
I have Jay looking up some numbers in the Big East Conference in history just to see if it's ever been done before by a player who plays an interior line position, and we're going to find out because to me, it's unheard of. You just don't see it. At some point, a guy who plays in there and goes to war the way he does every game, they generally get nicked up a little bit, and at some point they're going to miss some time. But he has been able to be in such tremendous condition, and he's so tough that week in and week out, he's able to go back out there and do it again and do it at a very high level. So Scott is a tremendous example for our program of how to be tough. And he really sets, as I said before in the season, he sets the standard for toughness in our program for defensive line.
Well, Cal, is Jameson ready to maybe handle a double-digit carries?
Oh, I think either of them could. I do. I think both backs will be ready this week to carry as many times as they'll called upon to carry.
How big of a game is this, just from a recruiting standpoint, first chance to see a lot of these kids since the Big Ten announcement and all that other stuff?
It's an opportunity. Most of them are done with their seasons. There's a couple that are still playing, and the ones that are in the playoffs, hopefully some can get here, but I don't want them to come to the game at the expense of jeopardizing their run at a state title. So, if they can get here, great, and if they can't, we'll catch up with them at some point. But, like I said yesterday, I think everything helps. I really do. I think when you go to 6 straight bowl games, I think or 7 bowl games in 8 years, let me say it that way. That helps. When you win 5 in a row, that helps. When you win a Big East title, that helps. When you play a game at the end of the year on national television, that helps. The opportunity to go to a BCS game, I think everything in its own way helps. It's all a step along the way.
Do you think there's any more speeches you have to make, or do you think the leaders of this team know what they have to do on Thursday?
There are no magic speeches for a game like this. The boys will be ready.
I know you're always looking ahead, but since that 2016 that really captured the nation, that shot from down below, have there been times where you've been out somewhere, it shows up on a restaurant screen or whatever? Do you think back to that and just remember that feeling and what this could be tomorrow night, Thursday night?
It's I don't know that anything will ever feel like that, only because that was the first time. And I think whenever it's the first time, it's always a little bit different. And certainly as you get further and further away from it, the nostalgia of it becomes more and more. This would be unique for its own reasons. This game is an opportunity to go to a BCS bowl game for the first time, something else that the program has never done before. So I think if we're able to be 1-0 on Thursday night, this one will be special for its own reasons. I think it'll be a little bit different. What I found is, that game in 06 is something. It's certainly one of the high points of my career, but I've been fortunate to do this for 19 years, and I've been fortunate to be a part of some good teams, so it's not the only one. But so many people in this state will mention that game to me, knowing that I was on the staff at the time, telling me that they were here, or telling me where they were when they watched it on TV. And that 2006 game has certainly become a moment, I think, for the people in this state that they remember where they were.